Good morning. So I'm doing a diary video today, um, just to kind of go over what's on my mind. So the resignations are in, and we're on a time crunch. We have 3.5 months to get the house sold, to get rid of possessions, to get on the road to full retirement for my husband and semi-retirement for me. And this is all while I'm still working full time. So I have to admit that it's a little overwhelming. And this morning I got off of work, I finished a 24-hour shift, and I did sleep a few hours. So I have some energy. And I was thinking, well, what can I do? And my goal is every day to do something towards this goal. And there are days that I can't do anything and I rest. There are days that I get a ton done, but every day I try to do something no matter how small. So today I actually feel pretty good. I just know intuitively, and I've learned in life that when you have a goal or going through a big change, that instead of wallowing or getting in fear about everything that needs to be done, just do something and keep moving forward. And it's never failed. I eventually get to where I want to go, and the journey ends up usually being fruitful. So today I've decided that I'm going to start packing um, up some stuff from inside the house, and that's a pretty big move. So I have started to clear out the Christmas stuff. I mentioned in a previous video, and I've got boxes here to get rid of, and then that'll open up empty boxes to put in the hopefully not very items that we're going to keep from this house in storage. Um, so join me today as I start those first scary steps um, to doing definitive things that need to get done so that we can be free. I wanted to also add a note as I develop this channel, Early Retirement Diaries, on my style. I'm not sure where it will be. It's all in evolution, but I want it to be as authentic as possible. I got home and I'm like, oh my God, if I'm going to do a video, should I shower? Should I do my makeup so I look nice? And that'll just add a couple more hours um, to my schedule, and then I'll probably be too tired and not get anything done, which happens when I'm post shift. Sometimes I get home energetic and then have a quick dive in energy. But uh, I decided why do all of that? Just I want to be authentic, show what every minute or day to day can actually look like. So today it's me getting home after being up for the last, I don't know, I got up at 5 a.m. yesterday and it's like 8 a.m. now, 27 hours. And not get ready, which is what I would usually do. I just, you know, clean up a bit, put on a fresh outfit, and brush my teeth, wash my face, but, you know, get going with my day. And then later at a better time, when I get back on a normal life rhythm, then I do the getting ready every day if I have that. The kind of job that I have, it's really hard to have any rhythm, which is part of why I'm burned out and needing to retire early. So yeah, I'm going to be natural. Some days I'll be made up. Some days I'll look a little tired. Some days I'll be fresh and glowing and excited. And that's what my own natural journey is. And I want to reflect that as much as possible in the channel. Today we're going to do a typical morning as I reset, put my things away from a day of work, and start the new morning. I clean up the kitchen, get my space ready for what needs to be done. We'll get to the packing and then have some breakfast. And this should reflect well a typical day coming home from work and needing to get done what life requires. I find that cleaning up my space organizes my thoughts. It creates a calm environment that prepares for what comes next. Here I'm going to be washing my water bottle, and my coffee cup. They are two really important items that I rely on throughout the day. After I finish my morning coffee, I'm going to refill my water jug. I actually put water with Gatorade Zero in here. I drink that every day, and I find that if I don't hydrate well, I have low energy, a dull headache, random muscle cramps, and keeping well hydrated really helps set my baseline energy and body function for the day. I fill it with ice and then I add Gatorade Zero. I buy it in powder packets and it gives it a good flavor as well as electrolytes. I'm able to drink more of it when it's flavored with Gatorade Zero. And it's also a bonus that it's sugar free. These packets I get online from Amazon in bulk, and I take them to work with my lunches and also when I travel. So I find them really useful in any setting to keep up with my hydration. I usually start by putting my lunch pack away and prepping my water bottle, washing out my coffee cup. And then from there, I start to clean up the kitchen. It seems like the work is never done in the kitchen, as we all know. You can clean up at night and still have a mess in the morning and midday. It is the cycle of life. You use things, you stir them up a bit, and then you clean them, organize them, and use them again. I like to prepare my lunches for work. Actually, my husband is wonderful about packing my lunches with enough food for 24 hours. I find that it's healthier than what I have available at work and saves me the expense of ordering out. I have gone on a deep health journey these last few years and finally reached a healthy weight. And this is one of the ways I'm able to maintain my health. As I do these things with a long term goal in mind, it helps me enjoy the process. Things like putting away dishes back where they go helps me organize my thoughts and make new goals. That is not just the dishes, other things in life. It seems like many times the paths we walk are similar, whether it's cleaning up the kitchen and straightening up, or straightening up your personal life, personal goals, aspirations. It might be a process of discernment where you're trying to sort out what is pending, what is there that is unsettled and needs to be resettled, cataloged into its place, and learned from in a way that it serves you again in the future. There's a certain beauty and simplicity in something as simple as putting away the dishes from the dishwasher. These have probably been used thousands of times. They get taken out, used to eat or sustain ourselves, carefully cleaned, washed, put back in their place so that somebody can find them and use them again. There's something comforting about this process because it extends to our general life. Sometimes actions and activities seem repetitive, but their function is so important in maintaining day to day life. I like to keep all white dishes. That way I don't have to worry about matching sets. It keeps it very functional and simple. I've tried to minimize the number of dishes I have. I used to have a house 3 times this size and 3 times as many cabinets to fill with things and dishes that I would never use. Here I have maybe 6 of each item, and it's more than enough. I actually have another cabinet with my wedding china with 7 other place settings, I have to admit. I wasn't able to part with it before. But as I do this, I'm wondering, will I be able to part with it now? Because it's time to once again downsize. Even this silverware I had pared down and went on a trip to Italy, found this little gold set, and threw it in the drawer with the other old silver set. So it's enough and it's great for this house, but it's more than I need, and this will also need to be pared down. So the last load of dishes just went up into the cabinets, and within minutes, it's promptly replaced with the next set of candidates waiting to be washed and used. It's at moments like these where I wonder what it will be like to have a smaller version of this life in an RV or in temporary apartments. Items that I'm not familiar with, or maybe items that I'm used to having and won't be there, or just working with less things in general. This is actually not a scary proposition. Part of this next phase of life is to simplify. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Usually, when I clean up, I reset the towels. There's something about moms or the woman of the house and how she cleans. Really, no one else can match it. But these are the little details that I think make everyone walk into the home and know that mom was there. As I go about doing these things, I also wonder, how will I be that mom in the home for my kids and those I love when I no longer have this home? How can I recreate this feeling of home for those around me when our address is changing? But then I'm reminded of the wisdom that home can be wherever you are. I'm also reminded that I can find, or we can find our kids wherever they are and make home around them. I don't know the details of how this will happen, but I have faith that we will build home wherever we are and around whoever we are with, as we have other times in our life where we were called to move and resettle. We always built and maintained a beautiful home. Okay, so I did the kitchen reset, got myself unpacked from work. The family was really busy cooking over the weekend, all of us were. So I was working yesterday, and I know my daughter made a peach cheesecake. And on 4th of July, we had cooked like potato salad. My husband made some bratwurst. So a lot of this cleanup is the remnants of a very active weekend in the kitchen. But now that that is done, taking a little hydration break with my Gatorade Zero. I find that in my dry climate and how busy I am, I dehydrate easily. Um, but next, we're going to go find what we're going to pack. So I've got those boxes outside, uh, Christmas stuff that's going to either go to the estate sale or be thrown away. And we'll free up a couple boxes and start filling them. Over the years, the Christmas items have built up. We actually have at least 10 boxes in storage. So what you see here is half of the Christmas item. I'll be going through these boxes and discarding most of them. We also just gave away two very large bags with Christmas trees. These two small actions alone of bringing over half the boxes and donating the trees freed up so much space in our storage facility. It's a 10 by 12 storage unit. I'll get these boxes, empty them out, and then fill them with the things that mean most from this residence instead of purchasing new boxes or using cardboard boxes. They do get dusty in storage, especially where they're at and where I live gets a lot of windstorms. So they're getting a quick wash off, and then I'll go through the house and find the items that mean most. And in a very unceremonial fashion, the very first item was found. I'm cleaning it off, and it starts the first box of packing. I get a little chuckle and call it unceremonious because I had so much intimidation about starting this process, but it seemed to start in such a mundane fashion, so quickly, unexpected, and just natural. So here I am, walking around room by room and scanning and just seeing in this moment what matters most to me. And it appears no surprise that it is the pictures. I know we have way too many pictures, but I do love them, and I do see myself using some of them in a future forever home. I do hope to find a way to digitize the pictures, and this is something that'll come down the road. Here's a picture of me and my girls when they were school age. I had this sitting on my desk at work for years, and my oldest, these are her senior pictures from high school. This is a family portrait at my oldest high school graduation picture session, and this beautiful natural moment where they are laughing together. Those are the moments that remind me of what life with them was like. My box is starting to fill up with these wonderful mementos. And as I said, over time, I'll figure out, maybe take additional passes to see what can be digitized and what will be kept to use in its framed form in a future setting. Another picture of the girls, and here's a baby picture. Okay, well, there it is. I have one box packed for today. I went around the house and just picked stuff that I knew I'd want to keep, which is mostly pictures. And another day we'll sweep up some more things. I'll end this day with making breakfast. I'm going to be making a ham, onion, and cheese omelette. This onion is actually from my garden. I got into garden heavily the last few years and was able to grow a lot of wonderful food. And this little onion was this year's crop, my first good crop year of onions. I try to make an effort consciously every day to incorporate items into my diet and meals with as much protein as possible. I lost almost 90 pounds, and if I don't keep up with my protein intake, I have an accelerated muscle loss. I got bariatric surgery and I maintain with GLPs. So I really have to be careful about keeping my protein macros as high as possible. Additionally, in middle life, we start to lose muscle mass, and it's part of the process of perimenopause and menopause, which can weaken the body and lead to early fractures and limited years of mobility. I'm hoping to prevent that as much as possible by being very conscious of my dietary choices, even now at the age of 50. Sometimes it might have been easier for me to get a glass of cereal or a toast or some yogurt, but when I really think about it, as much protein as possible is best. So today it will be ham and eggs. Eggs are so easy to cook, and you can change the ingredients almost daily. I really need to remind myself to make them more often. But I'm preparing my ingredients. I'll be sauteing the ham and onions, and then I'll put in the egg mixture, and at the end, add in the cheese to make a burrito. I haven't quite mastered the art of making omelets. I'm too impatient for it, I think. But what typically happens is it sticks a little bit and it breaks as I lift the egg. Um, and I don't mind because in the end I get large chunks of egg with my ingredients and stick some cheese in the middle and call it a day. It ends up tasting just as good as a restaurant style omelet. My grandfather used to make me omelets when I was little, and I don't know what his magic was, but that egg would fluff up like a sponge, nice and thick, and it would just slide off of the pan. I do think he also used lard, but I often fondly remember his eggs, and he always sauteed onion into them too. There was nothing like the smell of an omelet being made by my grandpa in the morning. Sometimes he would even make flour tortillas as well. Those are very nice memories. So I'm letting the egg cook through nice and slow, and then I'm getting to my fatal flaw here where my omelet breaks every time. Maybe it would have been better for it to be a little thicker, more egg. I don't know. But like I said, I don't get too worried about it. I flipped over some nice large pieces. I'll put some shredded cheese onto them, stack the pieces on each other for the cheese to melt. I've made 2 portions. My daughter wants some for breakfast as well. I'll plate some for her and then put some in a burrito for me. Many times I like to make my tortillas on the griddle or the comal so that they can cook evenly. But today I'm doing them over the fire, which is the quickest way. And we got a recent chuckle because when I asked my kids how they wanted their tortillas, they said they wanted them fire roasted. We hadn't really used that term to describe it before, but just to describe the different ways to warm up our tortilla. People do microwave, we have the griddle or comal, and then fire roasted. So I plated my daughter's portion of eggs. Now I'm putting them into my tortilla, and then I will roll it up and enjoy this for breakfast. My husband brought home some homemade salsa, and I'm sorry I didn't get it in the shot here, but one of his colleagues, his mom, had made a batch and gave us a nice bottle of it, and it's delicious. I'm sprinkling a bit onto my burrito. Like every busy mom, I'm eating right at the counter. My daughter has just woke up. She probably smelled the food cooking, and my burrito is delicious. These are some cherry tomatoes growing out in the garden this summer. There's nothing like the flavor of a homegrown tomato, and it complements my burrito perfectly. Absolutely delicious.
What are you doing? Eating my burrito. Are you really? They came out good. I left you some eggs on a plate here, Mia. Just have a toast or tortilla with it.